Alright, welcome back to what I assume will be the last episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. We are at the final hour, as you can see. And yeah, I think we got things in a pretty good spot. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see what the outcome of everything is. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of the city in the throes of rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the troops still loyal to the Overseer and the Empire are flocking to the ruins of Shar Milanitis, palace, where you have established your base. You used to play here as a child, but now it serves as a base of operations for the fight against the insurgents. Armored nobles assemble into squadrons. Some hastily armed commoners who do not trust the rebels have agreed to follow them. The priests who have sided with you are preparing to appeal to the insurgents and exhort them to lay down their arms in the name of the twins. The insurgents have gained a foothold by the city gate, and preparations are in full swing at the camp as well. Their fate will be decided soon. Will they win their freedom or endure brutal retribution for violating the sacred order of the Empire? There is almost no time left, just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favor. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies for help? Or would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Do you plan to crush the revolt by force, or persuade the insurgents to lay down their arms voluntarily? The fate of Anazote is in your hands. Yeah, well, we will not be seeing Elborn. We will definitely not be asking Aten for reinforcements. And we will not be asking Jian for help, seeing as how she is a broken woman now. So we can ask our family, or we can save our strength. Well, let's ask the family for help. Father and Stephen have assembled an entire squadron of noble cavalry beneath their banner. You must combine your forces while you still can. You spend your remaining hours searching for your father and Stephen. This proves to be a difficult task in a city consumed by rebellion. As darkness falls, a number of couriers are intercepted and executed by the insurgents. You eventually get word that your brother and father have assembled a company of noble horsemen still loyal to the Overseer. This is wonderful news right now. Right now, every soldier counts. You wait expectantly until your father and Stephen appears by the headquarters, noble cavalry in tow. They are still visibly shaken after the attack on your house. Their clothes are grayed with soot, their blades crimson with blood. I don't recall any attack on my house. Sorry to keep you waiting, brother. The streets are teeming with rebellious mobs. We had to fight our way through. Father and I will lead the cavalry in the flanking maneuver. Let's show this rabble what the El Brantes are worth. Stephen makes his horse prance and lets loose a battle cry. Save your passion for battle, Stephen. It will be a hard one. Father dismounts and puts his hand on your shoulder. Even if we lose sight of each other during the battle, remember that we're always by your side, son. You shake his hand firmly in response. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to head for the gate. Alright, this is it. The battle for Anazote. The dark void behind the walls of Anazote is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil. Armor clanks. Halberds gleam. Drums beat a lively march. Lit by the glow of the torches, the Margren Legion approaches the city walls. Gaius Tempest himself leads the Legion. It is the Overseer's duty to crush the Revolt this very night and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the Revolt to last even a few days, it could jeopardize not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that has been entrusted to him. An entire city rebelling against Imperial rule. Nothing like this has happened for generations. The people of Anazote tremble in fear before the punishment that will befall them if the Legion wins. You have done your utmost to crush the Revolt on the streets. The crowds in the squares have been dispersed. The riots and fires have stopped. The armed commoners clamoring for freedom at the sunset have now scattered and locked themselves in their homes. But the main forces of the Revolt have not yet been defeated. There are still many insurgents who are ready to fight for the true death, for their cause. The soldiers of the last straw, reckless conspirators and dangerous fighters taught by Sophia to struggle against the old order until the bitter end. Zealous new believers who would rather face execution than betray their faith. Poor nobles and former Legion soldiers who have joined the Revolt in violation of their oath of loyalty to the Empire. They know there will be no mercy for them, so they have nothing to lose. The remaining rebel forces have gathered at the fortified base at by the city gate. The rebels have surrounded it with barricades, preparing to repel an attack from either side. The soldiers of the Revolt, some armed with spears and axes, some with firearms, and some with simple rocks, hastily assemble atop the walls. The rest of the city no longer supports them, but the Revolt has not yet been crushed. The Legion gets into formation in front of the gate, ready to begin the assault as soon as their commander gives an order. The defenders atop the walls respond by raising their firearms. A herald from Gaius Tempest comes forward, stopping mere steps from the gates. He loudly proclaims the Overseer's demands. My subjects, lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by the insurgency. You have my word as an Arcane ruler that I will spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over their leaders of the Revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. The Legion herald proudly lifts his head, awaiting the rebels' decision. You cast a quick glance at your allies. The time for preparations has ended. Everything depends on the size of your army and the balance of the city between the forces you have managed to win over and those you have antagonized. The next hour will determine your place in history. Well, we have a lot of options here. Only one we will not get to pick, and that's a rout of the insurgents. So that's pretty cool. We can crush the rebels, force the rebels to surrender, get rid of Sophia, die in a battle against the Revolt, or flee the city. If we pick this, we get the Dark Times option, so that doesn't seem very good. This also gets Dark Times, and it also results in our death, so that seems really bad. This is not an option. We can get rid of Sophia, which will also result in our death, which is not good. Force the rebels to surrender, which is what I was going for. Or we can just crush the rebels. So I think this is a pretty easy choice here. The entire city's behind you. You can avoid bloodshed and force the insurgents to lay down their arms without a fight. I think this is definitely the best option too. Oh, nice horns. The watchman brings you alarming news. Instead of responding, the rebels shot the herald sent by Gaius Tempest. The Legion is about to attack. The rebels' defense is too secure. Not even the Legion can take the city in a single assault. The offensive will be repelled without fail. Anazote is in for a lengthy siege. The revolt will continue to fester within its walls until the city rots from the inside. Disturbances will break out all over the province and spread to the rest of the empire. You cannot let that happen. It is now or never. You will use your influence to stop the revolt without further bloodshed. You take the lead of a gigantic procession composed of your supporters. Guarded by loyal troops, you march through the empty streets to the insurgent camp. Nobles, clergymen, commoners, all the estates of the city follow you to demand an end to the revolt. Your procession reaches the square by the city gate. The rebel camp is encircled by a row of barricades. Behind them are rows of muskets and spears, all aimed at you, but no one dares to attack you. From the top of the wall, you hear the leader of the insurgents, her voice hoarse. "Damn it! Everybody, defend the camp! Fire!" But instead of gunshots, you only hear grumbling from the barricades. Are you deaf? Shoot them! Or do you want them to take away your rights and make you all slaves again? Without fear, you step towards the barricade. The square behind you is packed with people of all estates. You announce that the entire city of Anazote is against this rebellion. It will return to lawful imperial rule this very day. You tell the insurgents that they must lay down their weapons, surrender, and beg the overseer for mercy. They are outnumbered. The city is on your side. Behind you, the crowd bellows loudly. Down with the revolt. Surrender. No more blood. You shout to Sophia's confused soldiers that further destruction will not save them. Sophia is a madwoman. She has used her people to fan the flames of the revolt, but she cares nothing for them. All the people of Margra will get from this insurrection is more suffering. Is that what they want? Renounce your loyalty to Sophia. Turn her over and lay down your arms. Never. You knew this moment would come, men. We'll fight to the end. Freedom or death. The massive mob freezes involuntarily. The leader of the revolt comes down from the wall, her eyes aglow with a furious yellow light. People, this imperial lapdog is lying to you. If you believe Brante, you'll be slaves forever. He's trying to scare you with fire and destruction. But isn't that what you signed up for? We're going to destroy the old order. We're going to level it to the ground. The most loyal of Sophia's supporters raise their guns, but the others cannot withstand the pressure. Flatly refusing to follow Sophia's order, they drop their weapons one after another. If you ain't with us, you're against us. Die, traitors. A fight breaks out within the insurgent camp as Sophia and her loyal soldiers attack the defectors. Gunshots, cries, smoke, yellow sparks. Eventually it comes to an end. The remaining insurgents emerge from behind the barricades, their hands in the air. Sophia is thrown at your feet, her arms bound. The rebel glares at you from behind a mass of tangled hair, her face contorted in hatred. Don't get your hopes up, Brante. The fire I started will rage again soon enough. You and this whole monstrous world are gonna burn. Bitter tears run down Sophia's cheeks. For a split second, you see the frightened girl from next door, pursued by terrifying horsemen. You look away. The Imperial authorities and Overseer Gaius Tempest will decide the criminal's fate now. The resistance has been crushed. Even the most ardent last straw fighters surrender their weapons grimly. The rest of the insurgents flee the walls, trying to escape down back alleys. They are not followed. Enough blood has been spilled today. The people gathered in the square shout loudly, "Victory! Angelo Brante! Glory! Glory!" With a triumphant air, you give the order to open the gate. It swings open, creaking heavily. You stand before the gathering in the square and await the arrival of the Overseer. Tonight you have saved your city, extinguishing the flames of a rebellion that threatened to spread across the entire empire. You look back at the years gone by, all the difficult decisions you had to make, all the actions that helped you take your place in the history of the empire. Your destiny has been fulfilled. And with that, we'll get a +3 to Margra, and we end in affluence with a solid 8. The church remains in schism at 1, so it's still slightly towards the New Faith side. We get a +5 to order, so the triumph of law is fulfilled now. The rebels surrender to the mercy of the Overseer. Anazote is back under the rule of the Empire.
The revolt was crushed, and it was I who restored order in Anazote. Mine was a victory for all of the Empire.
He's getting a rather big head, just like Angelo Brante from Red Dead Redemption. Although we have accomplished some fantastic things in this life of ours, haven't we? A new day dawns. This is a consequence of having not died or escaped. It is morning. You stumble along a now empty back street, utterly exhausted after the most trying night of your life. An elderly stranger in a threadbare cloak shambles down the road in the opposite direction. The old man looks around cautiously at every step, seemingly struggling to remember where he is going. As you approach him, he suddenly stops and speaks to you. Good morning to you. You slow down for the old man and wearily return his greeting. May I ask you a favor, my friend? You barely have any energy to waste today, but there is something about this old stranger's voice that compels you to listen. A favor? What kind of favor? Well, my brother and I had a disagreement, you see, and I want to know who was right. My phone keeps going off with ESPN results, not to break the immersion here. My brother says this world is already perfect as it is. The twins made it like this, after all. The old stranger pauses, casting a glance over the streets. The charred carcasses of buildings and homes, the overturned carriages, the dried bloodstains on the paving stones. And I told my brother that, no matter what their initial design may have been, the world as it is now needs to change. So then my brother asked me, what exactly needs changing? But I had no answer for him. So here I am, wandering around, tormented by this question. Would you help us settle our dispute, my good man? Who's in the right here, me or my brother? If you were in the twins' place, what would you do? What about this world needs changing? Okay, well, let's get what we can't pick out of the way. Say you would grant the world forgiveness, or say you would destroy the world. Say nothing and walk away. Say you would leave the world alone. Say you would take better care of the world. Say you would free mortals from their lots. I'm thinking. In the end, we sided with the nobles and whatnot, and we got rid of the rebellion. But I'm thinking here, the lots suck, and it sucks to be a commoner without any choice or actions that can change that. So I gotta say, it seems to me it would be best for this world to get rid of the lots. If it were up to you, you would make it known that everyone is free to choose their own lot and their own path to the twins. I quite like that. I like that a lot. You put your hand on the old man's shoulder. Why, this quarrel was settled long ago. All the suffering in the world, all the injustice, all the wickedness, It all stems from the error made by Prophet Isateus. The lots were forced upon people by other people, and the twins have been condoning it for centuries, thereby dooming their great creation to eternal suffering. You have met many, many people in your life who rejected the lot of their birth. But their intention was never to defy the law of the twins. They sought only to be free from other mortals. If you were the twins, you would make it known that everyone is free to find their own path to them. And then, step by step, their divine design would attain perfection all by itself. The old man looks at you in surprise. Oddly enough, he seems to be completely unaware of the new faith. But then how can you tell the righteous from the wicked? You readily explain. The wicked are those who willingly choose to defy the twins and the eternal bliss they bring. The righteous, on the other hand, are those who seek the twins within themselves, who pray to them, seeking their guidance and approval. Everyone should be free to choose their own lot and bear their own burden. Then we will remain within the twins' great design, but be free to find our own place within it. The stranger spends a long time pondering what you have told him. I can feel the pain and the truth in your words. Thank you, Angelo, for settling our disagreement. The old man rewards you with a slight nod, then slowly walks away. Wait, how did he know your name? You spin around, but the street is empty. Outcome of the revolt. With your assistance, the Imperial Loyalists crushed the rebellion in a single night without further bloodshed. After swiftly quelling the unrest in Anazote, Overseer Gaius Tempest restored order within the city walls with an iron fist. All the leaders of the revolt met their final deaths at the end of a noose, but any rebels who surrendered before they had used their weapons against the Legion were granted mercy. The Archnean ruler was as good as his word. After his swift victory, Gaius Tempest's authority grew stronger. Now that his subjects had been pacified, the eminent gentry of the Archduke's sympathizers no longer had a chance to stop him from ruling Margra as he saw fit. Once the rebellion had been silenced, the province finally entered an age of peace. And yet, the Overseer learned much from the lessons of the Anazote revolt. He realized that he had no choice but to address the woes of the lowly estate, lest further turmoil sweep across the land. Gaius Tempest took advantage of his growing power and finally began his first careful reforms. The nobles' privileges remained unchanged, but little by little, the common estate came to enjoy new protections under his rule. In time, the rest of the empire came to the same conclusion. The order established by the twins must remain unchanged, but if the realm wished to enjoy prosperity and peace, then everyone, from lowly commoner to highborn Archnean, must be protected equally by the strong arm of the law. For the first time in centuries, there was change, albeit gradual change, guided by eminent nobles and the royal Tempest dynasty in their stern wisdom. Power. The power struggle in the province was fierce, but in the end, Gaius Tempest remained the overseer of Margra. His authority suffered from the feud with Archduke Milanitis and the years of unrest that preceded the revolt, and yet the Archnean Lord had the wisdom to surround himself with loyal allies and garner support with the Margra nobles. No one can challenge the Overseer's rule now. Margra is a part of the Empire, and the Tempest dynasty has been chosen by the twins themselves to rule over it. Such is their grand design, and so it shall be for all eternity. The clash between the old faith and the new continued. As the schism in the clergy grew, the people of Margra remained similarly divided. This is church, by the way, in case you couldn't tell. Neither doctrine had enough power to prevail over the other, so the venomous accusations and fervent disputes continued. The Inquisition is powerless to end the struggle. Seems fitting. The strife between the faiths will continue to fester. The people of the province and the Empire will never be at peace until they decide which path of worship is the one that leads to the twins. Wealth of Margra. The changes that swept across Margra brought down the age-old barriers that held the common people back, paving way for trade and industry. The new freedoms have made Margra one of the most prosperous lands of the Empire, with new factories, mills, and trade routes appearing one after the other. The city of Anazote soon becomes a vital trade hub, the only place to procure the best and newest commodities, tools, and factory equipment. The wealth of its citizens is unrivaled throughout the Empire. Hey, that seems really good. Order. After many long years of disorder and strife, the land of Margra is finally brought to order. The lords of the land now rule it with an iron fist, ruthlessly eradicating crime, dissent, and insubordination of any kind. Never before has the streets of Anazote enjoyed such peace and safety. The order established in Margra becomes an example for the Empire in the years to come. Divine omens. The Anazote revolt was followed by more omens that shook the Empire. In every temple throughout the Empire, the symbols of the sacrament, the lash, the sword, and the book, turned to ash in an instant. The commoner's scars left by the sacramental lash all disappeared, overnight, completely healed. All across the Empire, priests and laymen debated the meaning of the sign, but the twins have uttered their word. Those all seem pretty good. What became of Dorius Otten? When you opened the city gate, Dorius Otten was fighting back the rebellion in the streets. He routed a number of gangs and squads that sought to reinforce the main rebellion. Once the Legion had control of the city, the haughty Archnean considered his duty to the Empire fulfilled. He made his way back to the castle of Archduke Milanitis and returned to his military service. No one dared to stop him. The Battle of Anazote won Dorius Otten great glory. Respected by venerable dynasties in every corner of the Empire as a hero, he lived a long life. Even in his old age, he remained undefeated in the Duel of Honor. Well, that sucks. So our nemesis lives a happy, fruitful life. What became of Augustin Elborn? The highest judge in Margra, Augustin Elborn, was killed in a duel with Dorius Otten. Yeah, we knew that. The life of Sir Elborn ended before the fight for Anazote had come to a definite conclusion. His legacy soon vanished into oblivion. Life is not fair. What became of Father Lennart? Abbot Lennart had hoped to become the first patriarch elected by the people, but this was not meant to be. The leader of the new Fete made his end beneath the ruins of the very temple that had been entrusted into his care. He is remembered as a priest who provoked the wrath of the twins themselves and reduced the Empire's greatest, holiest place to rubble. Well, sucks to be him. What became of Thomas? By the time the revolt had set Anazote ablaze, Thomas Guerrero was already living a new life with his family far from the city. He was finally able to enjoy a peaceful life. The chaos and riots in his home city never reached the sleepy village where your friend and his wife had put down roots. Thomas dedicated himself wholeheartedly to his family and his household. For the rest of his life, your old friend remembered you fondly, and he was always grateful for what you had done for him. He named his firstborn son Angelo Guerrero. Well, that's touching. We got a good one finally. It was two bad ones. What became of Octavia? The being that was once Octavia Milanitis departed from this world forever without a trace. It was as though neither the beautiful young Archean lady nor the enigmatic being she became ever existed. All the knowledge of the Latari was lost forever, along with the legacy of Octavia Milanitis. Strange one, that one. What became of Sophia? Ever since she was young, Sophia had been the living embodiment of hatred, the spawn of every hideous injustice committed in the Empire. She had all she needed to wage a bloodthirsty campaign against the entire Empire and eradicate every living thing in her path, had she prevailed. But Sophia's best laid plans came to naught following your heroic act at the city gate. By the Overseer's order, the main instigator of the rebellion was hanged in the main square of Anazote. No execution before or since has amassed such a crowd. Sophia's last words were a furious, desperate wail. War, war to the end. but the mob only booed and whistled at her, mocking her and her legacy. Some still remember Sophia as a woman who fought fiercely for the good of the common folk, but many more view her as a vicious murderer who was prevented from destroying the entire empire. What became of the Brante family? The Brante family openly opposed the revolt on that fateful day and contributed greatly to its defeat. Once the imperial forces were victorious, Overseer Gaius Tempest commended the family's patriarch's decision and rewarded the Brontes with a vast tract of land not far from Anazote. With that, the Bronte family became powerful and respected among the aristocracy. Above all, they finally found peace. Well, that seems really good. What became of Robert Bronte? Your father became the judicial advisor in the court of Overseer Gaius Tempest. This lofty position gave him the power to help alleviate the burden of the common estate and establish justice for all. After a lifetime spent diligently working to transform his home province, Sir Robert Bronte died a quiet death in peace and dignity, knowing he had not lived in vain. He will be remembered forever as a protector of the common people's rights and a judge of impeccable honor. Very good. What became of Lydia Bronte? Lydia Bronte always believed in the ways of the Empire and the Old Faith. It was this very faith that helped her survive every trial the family had to face during those fateful days. When it was finally over, Lydia lived to a ripe old age in peace and quiet with Robert, her faithful husband. For the rest of her days, your mother took pride in her son's great deeds during the suppression of the rebellion. When the end came, Lydia departed to the twins' final judgment without fear. What became of Stephen Bronte? Stephen Bronte proved his true worth as a nobleman in the Battle of Anazote. When the revolt came, he saved many eminent families from certain death at the hands of the rebels, an act of true dedication to the noble lot. The overseer himself recognized Stephen's valor and invited him in to serve at Castle Inare. Before long, your elder brother became Gaius Tempest's own military advisor and one of his closest confidants. But even in the high-ranking position, Stephen never forgot about the family that had helped him reach such lofty heights. Oh, maybe it changed his nasty attitude. What became of Gloria? After that unforgettable quarrel in the Bronte home, Gloria left Anazote to travel the Empire. She hoped to see the life of the common folk firsthand and transcribe the truth in her travel notes. The news of the revolt back in Anazote reached Gloria during her trip through the province of Illyria. She seized the opportunity right away and sparked an uprising against the crown amongst the local commoners. However, the province's noble militia swiftly suppressed the riots. Gloria was captured and sentenced to hard labor in the mines for life. Ooh. But not even hard labor could stop Gloria. She did her best to inspire her fellow prisoners to rise up against their captors. But, rather than share her fervor, the other laborers turned her in, hoping for a reduced sentence. Gloria fought tooth and nail against the old ways, but she did not live long enough to see whether or not her efforts ever bore fruit. Instead, she met a swift and ignoble end. Well, that was a rather send end to Gloria, who had a rather hard life. She was very stubborn, though, I will say that. What became of Nathan Brante? Your younger brother survived the revolt. When it passed, he found the strength to start his life anew. You had given him a glimmer of hope that he nurtured within his soul, and to help him to accept the common lot as his path to the peak of the pillar. Well, the lots are gone, Nathan. He dedicated the rest of his life to prayer, toil, and humility. The suffering he had endured in his spiritual quest became the foundation of his faith. When the end came, Nathan departed to the twins' final judgment without fear. Well, that's good, I guess. What became of Gregor Brante? Yeah, he's dead. Gregor Brante did not live to see the realization of his great dream. But through the efforts of his descendants, it did come to pass. The name Brante is now forever enshrined within the Blue Book, listed among those of the other noble dynasties of the Empire. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante attained immortality. What became of you? At the fateful hour, you were the one who led the soldiers of the Empire to victory. Gaius Tempest makes you his right-hand man at court. The Emperor himself expresses his gratitude to you. Angelo of the El Brontes is the pride of the Empire and a bulwark of her prosperity. His service for the good of the realm shall be remembered for all time. You are rewarded by Overseer Gaius Tempest with the title of Prefect. You replace Elborn as the head judge of Margra, tasked with dispensing the highest justice. For the rest of your days, you continue to maintain law and order in your home city and province. Despite your humble origins, you have soared to the top. You are remembered as the savior of Anazote in the face of a great rebellion, a judge of immense authority, and a man with a most peculiar destiny. So ends the life and suffering of Sir Angelo Brante. True death. The hour of your death has come. Your soul has left your body, never to return. You are taken to the peak of the shining pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you, full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You've ascended from the mortal realm. From here you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the shining pillar. But first you must be judged by them, just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since their time immemorial. Only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. You stand before the twins. Your very essence is laid bare before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. You lie prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the elder twin asks, "Are you thankful to the gods for the life you lived?" I think I like this. You are calm. You staunchly accept everything that happened to you in the world the twins created. Your life was your life. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fills the immeasurable deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns his gaze with an expression of stern remorse. The elder twin asks you once more, "What was your life to you?" Well, what is life but struggle, really? I like that. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering your response, but the stern visage of the younger already looms above you. Human by the name of Brante, what did you live for? I like that one, kind of. Other people. Kind of seemed like we had to help a lot of other people, more so than finding our own happiness and whatnot. Other people. You live to make other people's lives better. We did do that with, like, the judge life and all that, I'd say. The younger's gaze lingers on your bare, defenseless soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? Achievement, definitely. Your achievements will live on. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment. But the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? I like this. You do not know. It is not for you to judge. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again. But you already know the question. The very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. What determined your destiny? I think, if I recall, at the start of this, we said a man makes his own destiny. Yourself. Your life has always been yours to live. You made your own destiny. The twin gods exchange a glance that lasts a brief moment, and all eternity. Then the hand of the elder twin reaches out to you, glowing with light and warmth. The gods offer you an unprecedented opportunity to change your destiny, to rewrite the book of your life. Would you like to take a different path in life? No. No thanks. Your life is over. You will face whatever awaits you with no regrets. You reject the hand of the elder. The immense divine silhouette withdraws in sorrow. The younger twin steps forward, leaving you to face his law alone. The twin's judgment is nearing its end. The younger twin steps forward, leaving you to face his law alone. The twin's judgment is nearing its end. The younger twin steps forward, leaving you to face his law alone. Oh, I've read this already. Lol. The soul of the man named El Brante lies prostrate at your feet. You have witnessed his entire life, known his every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could ever walk the same path. So many difficult choices, so many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen for him to the very end. Those who abide in the precepts set forth by you and your brother shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Where does the man named Angelo Brante belong? So I get to make the decision. Send him to the peak of the pillar. This man shall know eternal bliss. It's like picking picking your fate, I guess. You gingerly grasp the fragile soul, lift it up, and turn to face your elder brother. You lift your sword. Your brother stands with arms akimbo. Interesting. Ready for the blow. The blade slices through his chest. Blinding light gushes from the gash. You bring the minuscule soul to your brother's chest, and it devolves in the stream of shimmering luminescence. A tiny fragment of your shared creation has rejoined the whole. The man named El Brante is no more. There is only the eternal font in which he now abides. Alright, looking at all the options. This is the end. And I have a thought in my head. Everything went really, really good. But I don't know if you recall, but at one point, the Emperor's heirs were like kidnapped, or they like went missing. And we don't know what happened to them, nor was it answered. Do that a little slower. Look through all the choices. So let's end our life. And with that, here's the end credits. So yeah, I guess as you noticed, there were a lot of typos in English. I guess that would make sense if the people that designed this game are all European. I don't think I'm going to watch the credits. So let's go ahead and cut. So alright, that was the life and suffering of Sir Brante. You may have noticed that went really, really well. And I guess I'll go ahead and let out a confession now. I've played this game before. That's why it went so well. I knew what I was doing here to get those choices. These types of games, if you've ever played them before, they have a tendency to going wrong in a hurry and going really, really bad. And you have to like restart and pick better options. So I kind of cheated on that front, but I don't know. I thought it would make for good gameplay. So that is going to go ahead and wrap up this series. I'm going to go ahead and replace it, and after this video goes out, I'll start uploading the new series. So that's really exciting. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you don't mind liking and subscribing, I would again really appreciate it, like I said. But I hope you enjoyed. It's a pretty good story, I thought. I was definitely captured when I first came across it, watching it on YouTube myself. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thanks so much. I love you. Not really.